So I got to spend another overnight here at the studio, and I got a ride here, so I was able to spend another overnight. And I really debated if I wanted to come or not, because I'm just exhausted. I came here all summer. I was able to spend, you know, at least one night a weekend here. I'm only able to get here Saturday nights unless it's a holiday. Then I get to stay, you know, through Monday. But anyway, I really debated because I pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed myself all summer, and I'm really exhausted. But because my one interest in life is painting, I didn't want to stay at home. I probably need to, but I didn't want to stay at home and waste a weekend. Excuse me. So I came last night. I set up the studio, painted as late as I could, got a good night's sleep, and woke up really early this morning and got to work. And I'm glad, because it's the day after Labor Day. It's the weekend after Labor Day, rather, and I don't want to start off this next season being lazy. I may need to sleep, or I really may need a rest, but I don't want to start off the next season on a bad foot, setting a precedent for myself where I make excuses for not coming in and doing my work. So here I am. But before oh boy, I just got red paint on the floor. Before I started painting last night, I went to Jerry's Art-o-Rama here in Providence. And I'm a big fan of Utrecht's. I think the customer service, the guys in my town in Providence are phenomenal. They've been really good to me. They're generous, they're patient, they're kind, they're helpful. I, however, am not thrilled with how Utrecht's, the company, runs things. They send out coupons to get you in the store, and then the coupons are never good for anything. I've tried to use my coupons, being a preferred customer, to get Neo McGilp by Gamblin, to get Gamblin paints. They never apply. I've tried to use them to get canvases that cost way more than I can afford, but what I like to work on, the coupons never apply. So as a preferred customer, I'm being sent like a bait and switch type deal, and so I've gotten really angry with it. Well, don't bother sending me a coupon if it's not going to work on anything that I use, if it's only going to work on, you know, modeling clay that's 10 times the price it should be. So I had to go over to Jerry's and pick up some supplies. The problem too is that with Utrecht's, I love the staff, and they've bent over backwards for me over and over and over again over the last 2 years since I moved here. But the warehouse doesn't send the product that I order. You know, it can take a month to get one canvas sent because warehouse doesn't want to send it because they're mad at somebody. And I'm kind of tired of it. I gotta grab a cloth. So I went over to Jerry's, where they're having a great sale right now, by the way, on all kinds of stuff that I use. And my Neo McGilp by Gamblin is under $10, where it's normally $12 to $16 in other stores. And while I was there, I came across a brand of paint called Lucas. This is Lucas Titanium White, and I use a lot of it. Right now, I was able to get this for under $4, and it's great because I'm having a hard time right now. So this is phenomenal. This is just studio grade, I think, but it's really rich and creamy. There's no grittiness to it. I used to use a lot of Winsor Newtons, but for some reason, Winsor Newtons, like 15, 20 years ago, started getting gritty. It was like they were putting sand in the paint. So I stopped using it. It went from this phenomenal tool to something I couldn't even work with anymore. The colors were off, they were weird. So I've been trying other things. Of course, my favorite is Gamblin. I love Gamblin. But now I'm trying out Lucas. You know, I do use a lot of, or I was using a lot of Utrecht's paint. But again, I just don't have the money. And if they're going to send me coupons that I can't use, I don't appreciate it. It really pisses me off. It's a horrible way to treat good customers. So now I'm trying out Lucas over at Jerry's. And I got this cadmium red from Lucas, which is a little off. It's not quite right. It's a little pinky, but it's still, you know what? It was $3. And that's $3, and I think this is artist grade. So I'll deal, and I mix in a little bit of orange and it becomes a brighter red. It's still versatile enough where I can kind of doctor it, and it's okay. I'm not a fan of doctoring, but not everybody can spend $20 on the proper tube of paint, or $30 or $50 on the proper tube of paint, which I've run into. But there, sorry, I just fell asleep. While I was at Jerry's, I was looking at their Gamblin display, and they are a little bit cheaper than Utrex. They're a little cheaper than, or less expensive than some other places, and I have been a loyal customer of Utrex. Please be reminded of that again. I've been a loyal customer of Utrex because of the staff, not because of the company. The company is actually pretty horrible to its customers. So I've found over and over again, and so I've heard from other artists. So while I was at Jerry's anyway, I stopped complaining. I was looking at the Gamblin section, and I looked and I saw Radiant Blue. This is one of my favorite colors, but I haven't been able to afford it for several months. Well, it happened to be on sale, and I was thrilled, so I picked up a tube. Now, for the past month, I've been working on this portrait of my friend Heather Adele's. I've been working on these two portraits of Complete Destruction and Vidal. I've started working on this girl with an umbrella and several other portraits. But the colors weren't working right. I was using a Utrex brand, I think Paleo Blue. And it's a fine color. I use it all the time as opposed to a more expensive turquoise color, like Gamblin turquoise, which I love, but I think that one's like $30. It could be more. I'm not in a position to do that. So I've been getting the Paleo and mixing in titanium white, and bingo, I've got exactly what I want, the color I want. And it's really rich too. It just pops. It's really beautiful, especially when it's mixed with the Neo McGill. Gamblin's Neo McGill, which is my favorite medium. So it really pops and I love it, but I've been having a horrible time with these faces. They're not quite right. Well, last night I came back with the Radiant Blue and started mixing them together a little bit, and bam, bam, bam. The faces started falling together. Everything started working magically. And I am beyond thrilled, because only having about 24 hours every weekend to work, and in that 24 hours I've got to set up my studio, which takes about 3 hours. I've got to sleep, which I really need. I have to rest, and then I've got to break it all down, put everything back in my studio before I book it again for another week. I don't have a lot of time, and so I've been futzing around with these faces and really frustrated. But that Radiant Blue brought it all back, helped everything to fall into place. And what it took was for me to take myself out of my comfort zone, which is Utrex, put myself in a different spot, slightly different spot, which is Jerry's just up the street, and listen. I had to listen to the paint. What did the paint want me to do? And it sounds a little nutty, but sometimes I just have to stand there and look at the wall. And not just get what I want and that's it, but look at the wall. And then listen. Listen where the paint is calling me, like a siren song. I'm looking for something else. Oh, this is what I'm looking for. In listening to the materials this morning when I was mixing them and applying them, and totally thrilled that I listened to the paint, the siren song calling me in the art supply store, I got up and I was working on Heather's face again. Now her face has just been, driving me crazy. her eyes started off somewhere down here, her hairline was here, she was all hunched down, not right at all. Whereas in the reference material, her head is up. So I've been very proudly working on pulling her head up. And every weekend I take pictures, and every weekend I go home and look at them on Facebook or on my computer and go, what are you doing? I wasn't following the reference material. Instead, I was painting what I wanted to see or what I believed was there, instead of really looking at it, really listening and listening to the paint when I put it down. It's not in the right place, Becky. You know, instead of hearing that, I was just like, no, it's going to go here. No, it's in the wrong place. Listen to us. We're the paints. We know what we're telling you. We know what we're doing. So anyway, I started to listen, and I lifted her face up, lifted her chin up. And then this morning, I really took a good look at the reference material. And what I've been doing is pulling her hair in. And in pulling her hair in, I was keeping her chin from being lifted. Once I pulled her hair out, I didn't even see it. I was so myopic about seeing what I wanted to see and placing things where I thought I wanted to place them where they should be, because I know so well, I completely missed her hairline that helps to express her chin coming up. And I'm really pleased that I opened up enough to see this. You know, when you're first starting out, your teachers always say, you know, they're always, if they're good teachers, they're telling you not to look at your material, not to look at what you're working on, but to look at the reference material and pay attention to the reference material. And is that what you want on your paper, or is that how it really is? Are you really seeing what's there? And I do this in every painting. I paint what I want to paint because I know better, and I put it exactly where I want it to be because I'm so smart. And in every single painting, I end up listening. It takes me forever and a day, and then I remember, oh, I got to listen to the paint. Oh, I've got to listen to the material, because it knows better than I do. And if I open my eyes and really look at what's there, it'll all fall into place. So thank God this weekend, in less than 24 hours, I listened to the paint and I listened to the reference material, and now I'm gaining ground. I am gaining ground not only on Heather, but on these two as well, because I have, whoopsie doodles, because I now have the correct colors. I can start making his bandaged claw arm pop, which was in the wrong place too, and I still have to fix a little bit. I've got to bring it down. I didn't have a claw down, but now I'm working on it because I really looked at the material. It's to that point where I can really start seeing what's there. And then of course their hands, because I have radiant blue now and not just phthalo blue and white. Their hands are going to have more dimension, and I can separate them without getting into flesh tones, which I'm really bored by. I don't know if you can tell. But I'm super excited, so I'm going to get back to work. I'm going to drink my watermelon, ginger, banana, coconut milk juice, get my energy up, and get back to work. Sounds like a plan. Ciao.